Chad, this sure shot thing is all about the paper, as in paper football. But that damn Tom Brady got me again, man.
Talking about this guy?
Yeah, that damn Tom
I warned
Brady.
you about him. I'm going to put him back to bed gently because people didn't like when I smacked him last time.
Oh, no. Can you smack him for me?
Smack him. This one's from Mark. There you go.
That's a sure shot. We're coming up now. All right, what's the deal, boys and girls? I am Mark Gray. That is Chad Morton. Welcome to the Sure Shot, your stimulus package, unless you're messing with Tom Brady.
I can't warn you enough. That guy will get you in trouble, betting on or against. Stay away from Mr.
It's like, yeah, man, he's like, the buzzkill. You ever have that guy that you thought was going to be a wingman, but he scares all the girls away? That's Tom Brady. He's a blocker, man. He blocked me from a perfect weekend, dude. Never in control of the game all the way up until the 2-point conversion, and then it became a bad beat.
I warned you, man. 7.5. That half point is what got you. Philly's tough. Philly is tough, man. They weren't going to beat the Buccaneers, but they were going to keep it close. And one thing about those Eagles is they never quit. I love that about them.
They don't quit. And I wasn't asking them to quit. But you know who did quit? The Bucs defense. I mean, that second half was as putrid a performance as I've ever seen on Monday night. And it made Jalen Hurts actually look like he was Donovan McNabb circa 1998 to 2001.
Come on, man. This is only Jalen Hurts' second year, so he's coming along and progressing very nicely. I mean, people are spoiled by the incredible success of like a Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray, but this guy's under the radar, but he's turning into a very productive NFL quarterback. Give him 2 or 3 more years, and I think, you got a Pro Bowler.
But, don't be blasphemous. There's like Lamar, and then there's everybody else. I mean, come on.
That's true. Lamar, Kyler, everybody else. And you know what? Lamar proved that this weekend when a lot of people, not yours truly, I got the Ravens at number 1, picked the Chargers to either upset or come close to those Ravens. No way. Lamar Jackson put all that to bed. He says, let me show y'all what's really going on. And the Ravens blow them away at home.
Well, I mean, let's be real for a second. The Ravens played about as well as they were supposed to do, and they had nothing to do with the travel lunacy of the Chargers. Note to Charger franchise, you don't travel from Los Angeles to Baltimore and arrive the night before the game and then expect to play a 1:00 East Coast game without your team being somewhat hungover. And it's not like Baltimore's nightlife is what you have to deal with in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying?
Nightlife, what is that? Baltimore nightlife? Okay, let me shut up before I get in trouble. Go ahead.
Oh, you talking about avoiding homicides and scenes from The Wire? That's what you were going at? That ain't right. That ain't.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mark Gray.
No, it wasn't. That was you. I was just saying what you were thinking, and you were thinking. That's why you got that devilish grin on your face.
You said Baltimore and nightlife, but I'm gonna let that ride. Okay.
Yeah, Since the people in Charm City can see right through your veil. Anyway,
I mean, they got some places.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Challenging places that may affect your lifespan. Yes. Anyway, but you just don't do that, man. And I think that helped Baltimore get out early, and it's not taking anything away from Lamar. And the question has to be right now, are we prisoners of the moment? Is this sustainable? We've seen brilliance of Lamar in October, but I'm just wondering this year what makes you think it's going to change to be MVP caliber quarterback play for a team in January, early February?
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is his 3rd year in the league. Okay, so he's had 3 years to sort of get his bearings straight, pace himself. Although this is the first year anybody's going 17 games, they've made the playoffs in each of his first 2 years. Let me tell you something. I got my money, as I said last week, on Lamar Jackson all the way. As long as he stays healthy, there's no team in the AFC, especially not Buffalo, what happened to them yesterday. I think we both had them at number 2 in our top 5. And Buffalo's still a decent team. They got beat by a hot Tennessee team at home.
They did.
But nobody is beating Baltimore with a healthy Lamar Jackson. I have yet to see.
You know, they're going to have to show me a little bit more defensively, and I'm still not sold on their crew of receivers, but I love me some Mark Andrews. He's definitely a top 5 tight end. I mean, I put him right up there next to Travis Kelce, George Kittle. I mean, he might be number 3 to all of those guys. I just got to ask you, are you telling me right now that the team that has the better chance of playing in SoFi on Super Bowl Sunday in Los Angeles is the team from Baltimore and not the team from LA who represents for the AFC? That would be the Chargers?
They just proved it last week. The Chargers if they played Baltimore 5 times, they're going to be 0-5. I got Baltimore as just a solidly better team. Now, I'm not saying I think Justin Herbert, give him a year or 2, is going to be just a truly dynamic player. I think we got really hyped on him early, and he just hasn't quite yet adjusted to the NFL the way Lamar has with that extra year Lamar has over him. So, you know, I think this could be building up to a budding rivalry. But remember how Kansas City sort of had Baltimore's number. And then Baltimore just breaks through with their victory over Kansas City this season. I think this is just their time. And quiet as it's kept, I really think John Harbaugh's just having one of his best years as a coach. Look at all the injuries that Baltimore had to deal with going into the season. You can't give up John Harbaugh.
You're right. Eric DeCosta showing a masterful job at filling in the blanks to offset the mistakes that he's made as a front office executive. With all due respect to Eric DeCosta in Baltimore, he is no Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome knew how to draft everything but wide receivers. Eric DeCosta's done a very good job at retooling the running back position. Who knew that there was still tread left on the tires of Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray? But when you got a system in place that runs the football and they're committed to the run, as dynamic as Lamar Jackson is as a playmaker, I understand where you're coming from in that regard, but Baltimore is a meat and potatoes run the football team, and that's why if you play defense and you run the football, it travels. And they are really and they are
in any weather. And I'll say one more thing before we got to kick it over to Corey's segment, is that going by what you said, when you put players in the right places, you put your pieces in the right area to succeed. Look at James Conner and his success in Arizona, where in Pittsburgh, he was not contributing. Now, in Arizona, he is a strong contribution to that offense because they got the offense set up to just capitalize on his strengths. So when you're able to do that with your players, as Baltimore has done with like Le'Veon Bell, as you mentioned, you're able to get success and running the football, and defense travels and plays in all weather.
Point well taken. Back on the other side, we got our Sultan of the Sports Book and our fantasy insider. Here's Corey Parson coming up next as we send you more of the Sure Shot. Our Sultan of the Sportsbook joins us right now, Corey Parson from NBC Sports Edge, as we continue. And CP, good week for me, 4-1. That damn Tom Brady, though. I mean, you'll live or you'll die with him. I mean, what's his story against the spread, man? I mean, they were cruising along, the Bucks were. They had the Eagles under control, and then that 2-point conversion turns my perfect week into a bad beat.
Yeah, that bad beat came off of that 2-point conversion. Kind of saw that one coming as that score got closer down the stretch. You knew if they would go for 2, they have a shot to make it. It just so happened, it was funny, earlier that day, that number was sitting at 7. It bet down to 6.5. So listen, Tampa Bay should have easily covered that number. Philadelphia hung in there, got the backdoor cover. Other than that, Mark, week 6 was a real public week in the NFL. So the bookmakers finally took a big loss. Really, the bookmakers' first time losing this weekend. There was a ton of money on the football team. It didn't come through for them. A ton of money on the Giants, who are pitiful, didn't come through for the bookmakers. Was a ton of money on the Dallas Cowboys, and they happened to come through for the bookmakers. So a ton of money on the Chargers, and they didn't come through for the bookmakers. So just a situation where the public kind of bounced back this week. We'd be seeing road teams. We have been seeing underdogs win. This week we got back to some home teams and some favorites, but a real very good win, ATS on the road for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that looks like they're getting ready to get hot. Also, the Indianapolis Colts look like they could be coming up on a winning streak soon too. So let's not write them out just yet as well.
So as you go into week number 7, 2 6-0 teams. I mean, who would have thought? I know you've been big on the Cardinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they really number 1 in the league worthy right now?
Well, they're the only undefeated. So when you look at the situation that's coming up with them, they have been carried really by, a defense that's been playing better. Obviously, we know what Kyler Murray is doing. And then you got to keep riding them right now. Do I like them to win the NFC? That was a big-time victory versus the Browns. Do I like them to win the NFC? I think they can do it. I just keep going back to the slightness of Kyler Murray. And, this shoulder keeps getting dinged up season after season. If that shoulder gets hurt, that wear and tear on that shoulder messes with him down the stretch, it could be some trouble. But I got to say right now, the Cardinals are playing the best football in the NFC.
That's Corey Parson, our Sultan of the Sports Book, as we continue here on Sure Shot. Basketball starts on Tuesday, or has started. Let's just say that for purposes of our program. You look at the bets, the prop bets that are coming in. Who do you like? Who are you most importantly, however, bullish on and bearish on as it relates to, game by game action night after night? Because you can talk about all you want about the NFL season being a marathon and not a sprint. The NBA is my goodness, it's like climbing Mount Everest.
I think this is a team I think you're going to see some undervalued teams early in the year. The Memphis Grizzlies, I think, are going to be an undervalued team. I look at the New Orleans Pelicans, they can be an undervalued team coming into the season as well. An overvalued team is going to be the Boston Celtics, and I would look at it that way. Now, for some of the things that I've been seeing in the futures market, there's a lot of hype on the Chicago Bulls this year. And rightfully so, I would say. You got Billy Donovan, who's a good head coach. I mean, they can throw a starting lineup out at you of Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. These are all-star caliber players at some point in their career. I want to see some cohesion and the team come together first, but the public loves the Chicago Bulls this year. They like them to win the Eastern Conference. They like them to win the NBA championship. They like them over their win total. The public is really lockstep loving the Chicago Bulls this year.
Am I missing something here? I mean,
to
me, they're nice, but
I read the start. Look at what do you think about this starting lineup and their head coach?
My jury is still out. I got to see him gel first. Okay, that's a lot of new moving parts coming together with a new coaching philosophy. So, I would stay away from him early in the season, if for no other reason than it takes about 20 games when you got that much turnover in order to get your legs under them. At least that would be my philosophy to going to I guess buying into a team like the Bulls. Before I did that, I would buy into a team like Golden State. You know,
the Golden State is a very popular bet in the Western Conference. They're a very popular bet to win the Western Conference. They're a very popular bet to win the NBA championship. Obviously, Steph Curry, very popular bet to win the league's MVP award. Listen, we've seen the Warriors miss the playoffs each of the last 2 years. Is Clay going to push them up to the top of the Western Conference? When I look at the Western Conference, I see Phoenix, Denver, Utah. Those are the teams that I look at the top of the West, and then like the Lakers, the Warriors, and stuff like that. So maybe I'm not seeing it right, but from what I watched last year, I'd be very careful of that Denver Nugget team getting hot at the right time. And if they can get Jamal Murray back going into the second half of the season,
well, yeah,
have him ramped up for the playoffs, and you get some decent health from Michael Porter Jr., who's as good as young scorer as anybody in this league. They're the Nuggets, the Jazz, and the Suns. Those, to me, that's the class of the West, not the Lakers and the Warriors.
And I'm going to go on the other side. I think that Chicago's nice. They right in that mix. But to me, the sleeper, sneaky good team is Miami. I mean, that acquisition of Kyle Lowry and teaming him with Jimmy Butler is huge. Gives them some strength in the backcourt. I think they got enough fouls to give up front. I'm a big Adebayo fan. I mean, you put them into the mix, man, the stability of a Kyle Lowry. I'm not saying he's Chris Paul, but he can do Chris Paul things like Chris Paul did for the Suns last year for the Heat, and that may be enough to get Miami to the finals.
Their win total right now is sitting at 48.5.
I take that over.
Really? You think they're a 50-win team?
You know why? I buy into Eric Spoelstra as one of the best game coaches in the league. I think he wins you 5 to 7 games during the course of the season. If he comes in set at 48.5, and he wins the 5 to 7 games that I win, I'm looking at between 53 and 57 games. I think they can do that, man.
If they win 57 games, the only team in the league with more wins than them would be the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, I could see that. A little bit weaker conference. I mean,
that's interesting. I don't know if they're deep enough to be the 2 seed in the East, but if Tyler Hero is that 6th man and comes off the bench and give them that spark, they're going to need health. They're going to need Butler and Lowry to be healthy. And and listen, I think their seeding is going to be important for them because if they're matching up with the Bucks, if they're in that playing tournament range, it's going to be too tough for them. But who you think better, the Knicks or the Heat?
Wow, that's a tough one right there. That's a good question, man. They're about as even. That's
the middle of the East.
To me, that's a push.
East, once you get past Philadelphia and Atlanta, it's like the Knicks, the Bulls, the Heat, the Celtics. I think you've seen improve Toronto Raptor team this year. Those teams are all the same, so it's going to be interesting to see how that middle of the East plays out.
It's going to be interesting to watch this hoop season as it tips off and starts taking its texture, and I think we'll have a lot more questions answered by the time we get to both Thanksgiving and around Christmas. We'll definitely know what the deal is. That is our Sultan of the Sportsbook, Corey Parson from NBC Sports Edge, and you got that the cheat sheet and all that?
Yes. We got that. That is a piece of NFL content that is hitting at 65% ATS right now. So that's on NBC Sports Edge every Friday, and it sits up there throughout the course of the weekend. And right now we're on YouTube. We got our basketball futures show. Make sure you check that out as well.
And in the future, you are the law. So tell us right now, do you take Tom Brady and the spread? Because he's killing us on set, killing us.
This week coming up, they are laying 13.5 against the Bears. I like the Bears to cover the spread, maybe a possible upset by the Bears.
Oh, my. He just took it to the next level. That's Corey Parson. That's his sure shot. Big ups to CP for dropping the knowledge on us like it's hot. All right,
Wow.
Chad, let's go to the sure shots for this week. I was 4-1 and
3-1.
I'm sorry, 3-1. And where's that damn Brady?
Yo, I smacked him across the room.
Okay.
God,
no, because I was gonna come. I was just gonna go ahead and take the 15-yard penalty and get kicked out
I'm
of the
gonna bring him in
game.
next week when we're back in the studio, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring him in next week and let you give him a beat down.
Because one thing about it, unlike the NFL, we can't get fined for hitting him late.
Oh
and
man.
often.
Hey, one quick thing. Can you imagine the check Mike Tomlin's gonna have to write this week? Oh, he went off on the officials.
No, he didn't. He shouldn't have to write any check.
Straight cash, homie.
He said what they did was wrong, no question. But he walked into the tunnel berating the officials, I'm told.
Well,
They earned
it. They did. And, again, I think about the late, great Marv Levy. You over-officious jerk. Well, the NFL officiating has become a bunch of them. And
that was ridiculous.
I will ride or die with that, man. It's too much over officiating. You got this new school of dude who seems to want to call penalties and make a name for himself as the fourth or fifth announcer on the broadcast team. It's just going to become tiresome to watch. Mm-hmm. Note to NFL folks, your game is great. You're messing it up with replay and over officiating. Anyway, let's go to the sure shots for this week. After I'm striving.
You want to kick off since you were 3-1?
I'm striving for perfection. All right, Let's get ready to rock on. I'm gonna start in the nation's, actually Green Bay, where Washington has to go to play Aaron Rodgers. He talked about last week how he owns Chicago. He might as well get his timeshare ready for the stimulus package that is the Washington secondary. They are, in fact, a 7.5-point favorite as we record. The Packers are. I'm going to take them over Washington in that game. And here's a hint. We're going to come back later for the sure shot, and that's going to be a sure shot coming from this game.
Okay. Well, before I let you step in front of my limelight on that game, let's start with the New York Jets at New England 7.5. Do you think Bill Belichick is a tad perturbed, perhaps a bit upset about letting one get away from them at home, especially against the hated Dallas Cowboys? That was a gut punch, but it's nothing compared to what the Patriots are going to do to the Jets this week at home. Look for Bill to pull out all the stops. Take New England and lay the points.
See, I'm not quite sure I'm ready to go that far with you, bro, because I like Robert Saleh's defense. And what we saw last week against the Cowboys is that, mac and cheese is no Brady. Let's be real about that.
But he played harder to the end now.
He did.
They might back through that touchdown pass.
He did. But let's be clear about something. One of the best defensive minds in the game is Robert Saleh. You got a rookie quarterback. They've got some stuff on tape. I like the Patriots, of course, to win that game and come back with a resilient effort. But in terms of covering, I don't know. I think the Jets are they're not the Jets of Mike Tannenbaum, no matter how much Mike Greenberg wants to make him a celebrity. And let's just leave it at that.
All right. Who you got for your next one?
All right, the Raiders, as I see them right now when we're recording, are a 3.5-point favorite over Philly, and I love that bet, even with the 0.5 point. If it rises a little bit more later in the week, that's why you got to watch the comment section down here at the bottom of the screen on YouTube and check it out at the last minute. But as long as it stays, less than a touchdown, I'm feeling the Raiders over Philly. You want to talk about resilience, and the Raiders, most importantly, are getting Josh Jacobs back. And that's a big factor. You want to talk about somebody that can move the chains, versatile offensive weapon, and the fact I need him to give me points on my fantasy league team. I like what he brings to the table to take some of the pressure off of Derek Carr. I just can't trust Philadelphia's defense to keep up with them. So I'm going to take the Raiders and the 3.5 that I can get right now over Philly to come.
Okay, right. Well, I mean, hey, if one of us is going to be 4-0 this week, it can't be both of us because I got Philly at Las Vegas, but I'm going the other way. Something still doesn't sit well with me with the Raiders. You know, they rallied around their new coach and whipped the Broncos on the road. But can you keep playing with this kind of momentum and these kind of highs and lows, emotional highs and lows? I don't think so. Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are, but something tells me Philly is better than advertised. They just need to put all their pieces together. In a field goal game, take the Eagles and lay the 3.5. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, you're assuming it's a 3-point, a field goal game, and I think the Raiders' offense is coming around and is a little bit better. So unless they have a meltdown at the play calling thing, I really like where they are. All right, my final pick of the week is Baltimore hosting Cincinnati. Cincinnati has had a lot of success over the past few seasons, believe it or not, in Baltimore. And not that I think that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are ready to go into Harm City and come out with a dub, but I'm not quite sure Baltimore is going to cover that 6.5. So I got Cincinnati against the 6.5. Baltimore wins the game. They don't cover the 6.5. So that's how I'm rolling with my final overall pick for the week.
Okay, well, you know what? That's a division game. Division games tend to be close. I stayed away from that one because Baltimore can be explosive, but Cincinnati's offense is nothing to sneeze at. And I love what Tyler Boyd and Joe Burrow are building there in Cincinnati. It's going to be exciting to watch. I can't wait to see that game. My third pick, Houston at Arizona. Now, the line here opened at 14.5, quickly jumped to 17.5. As of this moment, it may even be higher than that. Get on this train while the getting is good. Take the Cardinals and lay the points. If it jumps up over 18.5, I'd stay away. But if you can catch it back at 17.5, take this game. Houston is sleepwalking through the season, and we're only in week 7.
Wow. Well, you know, they're sleepwalking because their starting quarterback got the massage of life from his Instagram model, and it put them to sleep. No, I get
talked about that now back in HSRN. So
indeed. So all things considered, I'll give you that. My sure shot this week. All right, we're gonna go with the money line in the Washington game. All right, we already said that yours truly will go to the window and take the 7.5 that I'm getting right now with Green Bay covering at home against the football team. But I think the sure shot is the over on the money line. Now, when I look at it right now, it's a 50-point game. I just think that, you know, you're looking at something in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 38-17, 38-21. I said, I think there could be a 40 burger at play in this game. Aaron Rodgers is coming around. The Washington secondary is a stimulus package for all offenses. I mean, just line them up. It's like, waiting in line for your block of government cheese and for your check that's coming into the bank account. I just think that, Green Bay's offense is slowly but surely getting cranked up, and they could do some prolific stuff. So I'm going to take my sure shot being the over. And as it stands right now, it's a 50-point number, too easy
Actually,
to reach.
Just went down to 49. So
I love it even more now. Sure shot, money line, 49 points. I'm taking Green Bay and the over.
Well, you know what? Even though we're picking the same game, we're both on the same side. I got Washington at Green Bay for my sure shot. Green Bay currently at 9.5. So that's 7.5 group. Green Bay is now at 9.5 point favorites to defeat Washington in another game where the opening line jumped. Washington football team travels to Green Bay to take on the man who owns the Chicago Bears. I got Green Bay at home walking all over the Washington football team. By the time this game is over, Aaron Rodgers may own Washington too, or like you said, get some timeshares. He owned them all his life, and he still owns them. Aaron Rodgers, you got that one.
Yeah, it was. That was That's going to probably rank right up there with RELAX. Don't forget, only bet as much as you can afford to lose, because this knowledge is for entertainment purposes only. So never tap into the reservoir that goes to the mortgage, or you dip your hand into the kids' college fund, because we want you to join us again next week as we give you another sure shot from the National Football League. Hey, when you gonna dust off the college chops, bro? You should.
College.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got the pick for you right now. Take Pitt over Clemson. Pitt at home.
Wow,
Big
really?
Pitt over Clemson, man. I'm going to give you guys the spread in the comment section. So check it out. You'll get that little information there. A little tidbit, little bonus for you.
Yeah, a little bonus college stuff as we start making our way down towards the finish line of the season. That's my man, Chad Morton. I'm Mark Gray. That's your shot for this week. Remember, we got you covered.
Yeah, next week we're back in the studio, so don't worry, people. We'll see you then.
Peace.